So I'm a researcher, which means that sometimes I have to deal with these hefty grant proposals that match my area of expertise. And not only that, I have to go out and find grants that I can apply for, which is in of itself its own headache. Something I've been doing is uploading my profile as a researcher to a generative AI tool and using it to find potential grants. I'll add my resume, my published work, my CV, and then use different prompt techniques to search for grant programs that match my background. It's especially helpful because so many places have specific rules and requirements about who they're giving grants to. Using generative AI has taken a lot of the guesswork out of that process for me. In this module, you'll learn how to prompt Gen AI tools for more complex projects. You can turn abstract ideas into step-by-step solutions. We'll explore how to converse with a Gen AI tool, create an AI agent, and build a prompt library to help you save time and reuse your prompts. Let's get started.
Have you ever tried to put together a jigsaw puzzle? You don't just dump all the pieces out and hope for the best, right? You start with a game plan. Maybe you find the corner pieces and slowly build the edges before working on the middle section. Or maybe you find the small sections to work on before connecting them to a bigger picture. The point is that it's a deliberate process that builds over time. That's what prompt chaining is like. Prompt chaining guides a generative AI tool through a series of interconnected prompts, adding new layers of context or tasks each step of the way. Eventually, those linked prompts help the tool solve complex problems one step at a time, just like putting together a puzzle. Here's how we can put that to work for you. Have you ever taken time off work and needed to catch up on what you missed? You could prompt a Gen AI tool to summarize your emails and any documents you received while you were gone. After reviewing the output, you may want to prompt it again to focus on time-sensitive requests. If the new output reveals an urgent issue, you could prompt the tool again for some solutions on how to handle it, and on and on. With this technique, you're not just iterating. Instead, each prompt and response builds on the previous one. You're creating a chain of prompts together in a single sequence. Let's demonstrate prompt chaining in action. We'll use Google AI Studio as it enables us to get access to Gemini models with a long context window. You just finished writing a novel. Huge accomplishment, right? Well, now the other work starts. You need to market and sell it. So you decide to create a marketing plan to promote the book. They claim you can't judge a book by its cover, but it's still important to make a good first impression. First, you'll need a catchy hook or tagline. We can use the prompt framework to generate some options in AI Studio. As always, let's be specific about our task. Generate 3 options for a 1-sentence summary of this novel manuscript. The manuscript will provide the story's background information directly, so let's just specify the tone. The summary should be similar in voice and tone to the manuscript, but more catchy and engaging. Okay, let's check out the output. These options are good, but maybe you want the tagline to focus on a specific theme in your book. We can write a follow-up prompt to refine the taglines. Create a tagline that is a combination of the previous 3 options, with a special focus on the exciting plot twists and mystery of the book. There's the new context. Find the catchiest and most impactful combination. The tagline should be concise and leave the reader hooked and wanting to read more. And we've specified the task and format. Great! This is really strong and gives you a great one-liner for marketing your book. Remember, prompt chaining isn't just about adding more context to your prompts, it's about expanding on what the Gen AI tool has previously generated. This is a little different from iteration in the prompt framework, since that focuses on adjusting a given prompt to improve the results. Here, you want to use its output as a building block for more complex requests. This brings us back to the tagline you generated. It's a great starting point for the next piece in your prompt chain. You want to generate a blurb for the back cover of the book. Let's continue. Create a 5-sentence summary of the entire manuscript below that expands on the 1-sentence summary. Okay, so we like this summary. We could iterate on it, of course, but for the moment, let's use this output as the first step in your chaining process. With your tagline and blurb set, it's time to think about your book tour. Will you promote it in local bookstores, stores that specialize in your book's genre? Let's continue to build the chain and generate a plan based on what we've already told the Gen AI tool about your book. Since the model has already analyzed your manuscript and remembers the conversation thanks to the long context window, just provide the new task. Generate a 6-week promotional plan for a book tour, including what locations I should visit and what channels I should utilize to promote each stop on the tour. Awesome, you've got a plan. And of course, you can iterate on any of these prompts if you're not happy with the options the Gen AI tool provided. That's the power of prompt chaining. All it took was a series of prompts, and we guided the Gemini model and AI Studio to write taglines, summaries, and a plan for the book tour. Here are 2 advanced prompt chaining techniques you can try. The first is chain of thought prompting, or COT. COT prompting asks the Gen AI tool to explain its reasoning or to describe step by step how it got to a specific result. It's similar to the way math teachers ask students to explain how they got to an answer. This method can help you understand the Gen AI tool's reasoning methods, which can help you make better decisions based on its outputs. For example, you might need help deciding how to balance visiting all 6 book tour locations with a limited budget or time constraints. You could prompt the Gen AI tool for ideas on how to solve this, but this time you include explain your thought process in your initial prompt. That way, you can evaluate the logic behind each proposed solution. A related concept is tree of thought prompting, or TOT. Tree of thought involves asking the tool to explore multiple reasoning paths at once, like branches growing on a tree. TOT enables the tool to explore multiple solutions to a given problem. It evaluates as it goes, which helps you get the best outcome. It's like going through a maze. Your goal is to get to the end, but you may have to follow a couple of different paths before you get there. This method is particularly helpful when solving abstract problems like developing a plot for the novel sequel with new characters and complex storylines. These techniques can be really useful for creating outlines or drafting small sections of longer documents at work, too. Prompt chaining gives you the chance to explore more complicated ideas and generate interesting responses. You might even uncover some insights you could miss with a single prompt. I work at a tech company, but I don't have a traditional tech background. A lot of what I know is self-taught or something I learned on the job. There are lots of things I'm curious about, but it's tough to find the right time or place to ask. One great thing about generative AI tools is that they can create a safe space for me to ask questions. Instead of getting embarrassed or avoiding it, I can get expert advice from a Gen AI tool with just a few prompts. With the right prompting techniques, you can transform your Gen AI tool into your own team of experts, ready to help you take on any challenge. These are called AI agents. And while they don't have secret night vision glasses or rocket-powered sports cars, they are incredibly effective at helping you do your job. You can create AI agents for different purposes depending on what you need. A coding partner, a creative soundboard, or even an accountability buddy to keep you on track with your goals. We're going to learn about 2 different types of AI agents. We'll assign them names so it's easy to follow. The first one, let's call it Agent Sim. Helps you simulate scenarios like interviews or role-playing a difficult conversation so you can practice and change your approach as needed. And the second, Agent X, gives you feedback on whatever topic you prompt it to be an expert on. Think of Agent X like a personalized consultant. Let's start with Agent Sim, a simulation. You've been asked to create a training program to help interns improve their interview skills to help them get new positions. Let's go through a series of prompts that will help us create this AI agent in Gemini. Act as a career development training simulator. To make this agent effective, we need to provide a lot of detail and background information about the persona. Your task is to help interns master interview skills and conduct conversations with potential managers. Now let's set the scene. To do that, we'll give it benchmarks about what it actually needs to provide in the outputs. In this case, and for a lot of simulation or role-playing AI agents like this, you need to specify the types of conversations you want it to have. You need to support the following types of conversations: articulating strengths and skills, communicating professionally and confidently, discussing future career development goals. We could stop there and let the tool process. It's not necessary, but it can help the output. For our purposes, let's just continue the same prompt. Once an intern has picked a conversation topic, provide details about the situation and the interviewer's role. Then, act as the interviewer and allow the intern to participate as the employee. Make sure to guide the conversation in a way that will allow the intern to exercise their interview skills. Notice how much detail we're giving it to help ensure that the conversations proceed the way we want them to. And now we're going to add a stop phrase to indicate when and how the role play can end. This could be anything. The end. That's a wrap. End scene. Or something a little fun like jazz hands. Continue the role play until the intern replies with jazz hands. After the intern gives the stop rule, jazz hands, provide them with key takeaways from the simulation and skills they can work on. Okay, let's review our prompt. We've specified the role, act as, the task, your task is to, and the intended outcome, the skills specified. We also provided plenty of details and background to set the scene. It's time to start the simulation and have a real conversation. Let's use articulating strengths and skills and test it out. Okay, here we go. It's asking me to tell it a bit about my strengths and why I would make a good fit for the role. I'll respond. My top strength is translating complex marketing concepts into clear, engaging messages that resonate with diverse audiences. Great, Gemini is doing its job. The response is encouraging, and now it's asking me for a specific example. Here's what I'll write. Yes, I designed a marketing campaign for a local company who sells custom jewelry online. Okay, let's check out the response. Agent Sim is impressed. Okay, I'm ready. I'll type my stop rule. Jazz hands. Now, in the original prompt, we told it to provide key takeaways from the simulation. Let's make sure. Yes. It responded that I did a great job citing specific examples and demonstrating enthusiasm and value. That's good. And here we can find the areas for improvement, which include being more concise and tailoring my answers better. This is so helpful. This is one of the most interesting ways to interact with a Gen AI tool because there are so many possibilities. You can even upload a job description and prompt the tool to ask interview questions based on the job's criteria. Another example, you can design a prompt to make the AI agent take on different roles you might encounter in the workplace and use it to simulate conversations, meetings, and feedback sessions. We're done with Agent Sim for now. Let's move on to the second type of AI agent, Agent X. Think of Agent X as your personalized consultant. With the right prompt, you can instruct your agent to be an expert on anything you need. In this example, we need our AI agent to provide expert feedback on a pitch for a potential client. Since this prompt will include a lot of context and information about the potential client, we'll need to use a long context window that allows the generative AI tool to retain and utilize more information, leading to better responses. So we'll switch to Google AI Studio. You're my potential client, the VP of advertising at a world-famous sports car company known for its innovation, performance, and engineering excellence. Okay, it's got the persona and background, but we need to set up the interactive conversation a bit. Let's set the scene. You're considering hiring a creative agency to develop a new campaign that will attract a younger generation of buyers. You are in a meeting with me, the design director of a creative agency that's pitching a new campaign for your company. We could put the whole pitch in here. Act as my potential client. When I provide answers, critique the answers. If needed, ask follow-up questions. Continue the conversation until I give the stop rule break. Then give me a summary of the whole conversation, highlighting ways I can improve my pitch. We'll upload the brief the client gave us here. That way, the model will critique the pitch through the client's point of view. I've included the brief the car company provided me that has all the relevant information for this project. Use the information from this brief to inform your answers. This was another long, involved prompt. Let's review it, keeping in mind that we're still using our prompt framework. We started by setting up the role of the VP before establishing what we want the GenAI tool to do, which is to critique the pitch and ask follow-up questions. We also specified our intended outcome, which involved highlighting ways the pitch can get better. Okay, time to converse. It's asking for more details. Let's check out the response. Uh-oh, there are still some concerns that need addressing. That's super helpful for this practice round. Let's type the stop rule now and evaluate the feedback. Break. Nice. The AI agent has given a summary of the conversation so far, what's working and what needs improvement, and recommendations to strengthen the pitch. Wonderful. Now that the GenAI tool is acting as your client, you can continue asking for feedback on the pitch. Remember to save your prompt so you can return to this conversation after you revise your pitch to help you test more ideas as you hone in on a final version. You can even create customized versions of Gemini called gems. Simply describe what you want your gem to do and how you want it to respond, and Gemini will take those instructions and help you create a gem for your specific needs. Throughout this course, you've learned how to thoughtfully create really excellent inputs. How to prompt. Like most skills, your prompting abilities will improve through experimentation and practice. You can save a ton of time by noting which prompts work best and for what use cases. I encourage you to keep track and go back to determine what's worked and what hasn't. That's where prompt versioning comes in. Prompt versioning is a way to keep track of the different versions of your prompts over time. It's a powerful way to capture your most effective prompts, track your progress, and develop your GenAI prompting skills. And here's a tip. You can name your most effective prompts and store them in your personal prompt library for easy access in the future. In fact, some generative AI tools allow you to name and save your prompts right inside the tool. Imagine you're doing meal prep for your family. You found a set of meals you really like, but you want to start experimenting with new cuisines. You wouldn't scrap your entire meal plan and start again, right? You'd use what you've already learned about things like preferences, portions, and allergies, and use that as a base to create a new weekly menu for your family. The same goes for prompt versioning. Once you have a prompt that works, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can experiment with different tasks, contexts, and references to get different results based on what you need. For example, you can develop a reusable prompt for emails. The GenAI tool will draft the email for you, but you can adjust the tone and format based on the audience you're communicating with. Or you could use a single source of information to create different frequently asked questions sections dedicated to different types of customers that visit your website. You can tweak the prompt that generated the FAQ for individual consumers and change the persona to make an FAQ for enterprise customers. Think about all the prompts we've created in this course. What versions can you create for your needs? Playing and experimenting with prompts is the best way to figure out how to get what you want. And the only way to get there is to get comfortable, explore, and learn what path works for you. And remember, you're not alone. There's a big community of folks out there that are sharing prompts that have worked for them so that people can learn from each other's successes, find inspiration, and support. Participating in that community is a great way to improve your prompting skills and build a network.
Congrats! You just learned a lot, and you should be really proud of all the work you put into this course. Prompting is key to unlocking the power of generative AI. You've learned how to do everything from writing simple text prompts to creating your own personal AI agent. You learned how to gradually build on the complexity of your prompts to get useful outputs, from helping you draft emails to summarizing documents and to creating engaging presentations. You've learned how to draw insights out of data, create advanced prompts, and turn Gen AI tools into creative collaborators. But remember, it's vital that you use these tools responsibly. I'm so glad to have been a part of your journey, and I encourage you to keep experimenting with Gen AI so that you can figure out how to make these tools work for you. The best way to do that is to get out there and write your own prompts. Now go get started.